Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So another one of my heavyweight prospect videos. Today we shall be covering the Polish heavyweight prospect, Lukasz Rozanski. Now Lukasz Rozanski has a perfect record of 13-0, 12 of those 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Stylistically, Lukasz Rozanski is a very aggressive heavyweight, and he's a heavyweight of smaller stature. He's actually only listed as 6'1", so naturally, given his height and reach, his style is always going to be coming forwards, trying to get past your jab, and then working up close. That is Lukasz Rozanski's style, and yeah, he's very, very aggressive. Lukasz Rozanski, while he's a prospect at 13-0, it does have to be said he is 34 years old, so, he's not exactly the youngest prospect in the world, but nevertheless, I would still describe him as a prospect. Now, like I said, his record is 13-0. The level of competition hasn't been exactly great, but there are a couple of names to talk about. He most notably retired the former highly touted prospect, Izu Agono. Izu Agono was a Polish-Nigerian heavyweight prospect, and at one point, he was getting a lot of hype. Of course, Agono got knocked out by Dominic Breazeale, and after that, Lukasz Rozanski basically finished his career and also knocked him out early on in the 4th round. And yeah, he dominated that fight from start to finish. He really did beat down Izu Agono. Apart from that, he's fought the notable trial horse, Michael Sprott. Michael Sprott back in the day was a decent domestic fighter in the UK, but by the time Rozanski fought him, he was way past his best and shot to bits. Other than that, there's really not much on the resume. He's fought Albert Sosnowski, who was once a world title challenger, believe it or not, against Vitaly Klitschko. He also knocked him out in a round. So they're the most notable names on Lukasz Rozanski's record. And at 34 years old, he certainly does need to get a move on. He can't really afford to be waiting around and developing slowly. They are talking about him fighting Artur Szpilka next in Poland. I think that's okay for his next fight. At this stage, I would say Rozanski should have too much for Artur Szpilka. I think the pressure, the power, the pace is going to be too much for Szpilka these days. So I would expect him to beat Szpilka, and after that, they really need to get a move on with Lukasz Rozanski, and in my opinion, basically throw him in at the deep end. I'm talking about opponents along the lines of Dominic Breazeale, a former 2-time title challenger. I think that would be a good fight for Rozanski if he beats Szpilka next time out. Failing that, even someone like Ajik Habayel, an unbeaten prospect who's relatively well ranked, I think that would be another good opponent for Lukasz Rozanski. Ultimately, at his age and given his style, they can't afford to mess around and sit and wait too long before they step up Lukasz Rozanski. Not only is Rozanski 34 years old, that's okay for some heavyweights, the bigger, taller guys who are a bit more methodical. But Rozanski does have a young man's style. He really does apply immense pressure. And that sort of style, is not for older fighters for the most part. So yeah, I do think they need to move relatively quickly with Lukasz Rozanski. Stylistically, like I said, he is very aggressive and he is a pressure fighter. He's along the lines of someone like Alen Babic. He's not as small as Alen Babic in terms of weight. Lukasz Rozanski is a real heavyweight, although he is small. He does carry a fair bit of weight. He kind of usually weighs in at the low 240s, high 230s. And yeah, stylistically, he is a bit similar to Alen Babic. Likes to apply immense pressure. His feet are actually relatively quick for a guy of his size, a guy of his weight. He'll come forwards, he'll try and slip past your jab, get on the inside and basically work. He'll work the body, he'll work the head. He's got good hooks. He's got a nice short straight right hand as well. That's one of his best shots. He actually jabs his way in, unlike Alen Babic. I would actually say he's a more technically proficient version of Alen Babic, believe it or not. I think Rozanski has a little more skill in terms of how he gets inside and how he applies pressure. Just because he actually comes forwards behind a jab, don't get me wrong, the guy is very open and he is very crude at times, but I think there's a little more method behind the madness in comparison to someone like Alen Babic. By the way, that would be a very good fight in itself. Alen Babic versus Lukasz Rozanski. I think that would be a great fight to watch for the fans anyway. But yeah, Lukasz Rozanski, in my opinion, he's going to be one of those guys who will certainly put on good fights for the heavyweight fans out there. You know, if you match this guy right, he's going to be involved in some barn burners just due to his style and due to the fact that this guy does carry some sort of power. So yeah, match this guy right, he's going to be in great fights. Like I said, guys like Brazil, Babic, you know, these sort of guys, they're going to make for some really good fights. Does the guy have any real high ceiling in the heavyweight division? I wouldn't say so, to be honest. I think he's too old. I think he's too small. And not even that he's too small, but I don't think his skill set is good enough to breach that gap in size compared to the bigger heavyweights. So yeah, Lukasz Rozanski is one of these kind of mid-tier prospects, lower-tier prospects that could be a lot of fun to watch. But in all honesty, I don't really see this guy going all that far within the heavyweight division. I think he can get to sort of top 25 level, and that really is his max. But yeah, certainly a fun fighter to watch. I think the Spilka fight next, what they're talking about is ideal, and after that, like I said, they need to really move on and push this guy and basically rush him. But there we go. Share your thoughts below. What do you make of Lukasz Rozanski? Do you think I'm selling him short? Or like me, do you just see him as a fun, exciting fighter, but with limitations, and chances are he's not really going to make all that much noise in the heavyweight division? Share your thoughts below. Been your boy Del Boy. Peace.